Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. This is Judge Law, and we are going to commence with our Fulton State Expedited Accusation Calendar. This is a calendar in which individuals were recently arrested and charged with one or more misdemeanor offenses. Upon being brought at the Fulton County Jail, the prosecutor, which is the Solicitor General's Office of Fulton County, has already accused the individuals of these misdemeanor charges. So therefore, this would be the defendant's initial appearance for a judicial officer from the State Court of Fulton County. I'm going to be addressing each of your cases on a one-on-one basis. When your case is called, I will let you know what's the case number, the accusation number, what are the charges brought against you, appointing counsel to represent you if you can't afford one, setting a bond for the charges that have been brought against you, and giving you a court date where applicable. For today's calendar, if applicable, the next court date would be the SAP calendar for June 23rd, 2022 at 9 a.m. Again, the reset date will be June 23rd, 2022 at 9 a.m. If you are a defendant who has been arrested and charged with one or more misdemeanor offenses, please remember these rights. The first one is the right to remain silent. Anything that you say during the course of this virtual recorded proceeding, your statements will be documented and used against you in the treatment of your case. You have the right to an attorney. If you cannot afford one or one is not available today, we have attorneys from the Public Defender's Office or appointed counsel from a conflict defense list who will be representing you. Hello again, Deputy Francois. Hope you had lunch.
I did. Good afternoon, Judge. We're going to go ahead and let South Annex go first.
All right, appreciate it. Deputy Milton, are you at the South Annex?
Yes, Your Honor. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Who do we have there?
Position number 3, Davis Farley.
Okay, thank you. Miss Mia Simone Davis Farley. Your case number is 22 CR 003-624C. You've been advised of your right to remain silent, and your attorney is going to be, is it Miss Kim or Miss Gant? Oh, Miss McLeod? Okay, thank you. Your attorney is going to be Miss Maureen McLeod. With regards to this case, you've been accused of battery, domestic violence, family violence from an incident date of June 6, 2022.
All right.
Mr. Tucson, any priors on Miss Davis?
20 total. On probation for 2 counts of entering auto out of Cobb County. She got FTAs, 2 from 2015, 1 from 2017, 1 from 2021. Probation violations from 2016, 2021, 2022. She got a conviction for riot in penal institution from 2017.
All right, thank you. Is it going to be Ms. Segura, Ms. Sauri, Mr. Segura?
Yeah, we're fine.
Okay, and just make sure the microphone's in front of you. We have our ASGs in the courtroom. And Mr. Segura, what's your recommendation for Ms. Davis Harley?
Okay, our recommendation would be a $3,000 surety bond, 1-day anger awareness, no alcohol, drugs, and weapons, and no further contact with Sean Hunter. Sean spelled S-H-A-U-N, Hunter, common spelling. As the owner knows, there's a case in which there were 2 combatants, Ms. Hunter and the defendant, in which they fought involving a gun, in which the defendant gave a gun which originally belonged to Ms. Hunter to someone else, and once they returned home, they ended up fighting, in which both Ms. Hunter and the defendant ended up receiving injuries. And in this case, Ms. Hunter herself is charged with aggravated assault, strangulation, and family party violence. But in this case, based on the warrant, the police are able to find a first aggressor, and they both have conflicting stories about who started what at what point. And also based on her history, in which she has, as Petrari has noted, several FTAs from 2017, 2015, and 2021, as well as probation violations. We have concerns that she commits a some type of offense when she is out on bond. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. McLeod, the state is recommending a $3,000 surety bond based on the allegations and her criminal record history. What's your response?
Your Honor, we acknowledge that my client does have a history, but none of her history is really violent or domestic related. I wanted to let the court know that my client is 30 years old. She is not currently employed. She hasn't been employed for the past 30 days, she tells me, but normally she works in restaurants. She tells me that in this instance, Sean, the cross-defendant, is someone who's very aggressive, and she attacked her. The court knows that the cross-defendant is charged with strangulation. She tried to strangle my client. She was the one who attacked her very aggressively, and I guess someone heard the neighbors and called the police. But my client is actually the victim in this instance, Your Honor, and we would ask the court to consider that in setting her bond.
All right. The bond's going to be set at $1,500. It's a surety bond. No further contact with Sean Hunter. And I'm going to allow her to return. Are they sharing the same premises?
No, Your Honor, they do not live in the same premises.
All right.
And in fact, they have no other relationship except that they are friends, or they have mutual friends, really.
So why is it domestic violence, Mr. Segura?
Based on the reports, it said that Ms. Hunter is her girlfriend and they used to live together.
No, Your Honor, that is untrue. I did question my client extensively about that, and she denies that there was ever any relationship with Ms. Hunter or that they actually ever lived together.
All right. Well, you're going to have to file the request to amend that based on information we need. I'm not sure where the officer got that information from, but it's still a $1,500 surety bond based on her criminal record history and the allegations. It's no further contact with Sean Hunter, no alcohol, no drugs, no weapons. Next court date is June 23rd.
Thank you.
Thank you. South Annex, do we have another case? I'm sorry, Deputy Milton, you're done? Okay.
Yes, thank you for everything. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. All right, courtroom 2, who do we have? Ms. McLeod, do you have another case?
Yes, Your Honor, I have 2 other cases.
Okay, thank you.
This is position 2, Mr. Beebe.
Thank you. Here we go, Holly. We have,
I'm sorry, excuse me, Judge. We also have the mother and sister here in the courtroom.
all right, thank you. We have Ronald Antonio Beebe, B-E-E, charged with obstruction of a law enforcement officer and fare evasion from June 7th, 2022. So you've already been advised of your right to remain silent, and your attorney is going to be Ms. Wanda Gant. And let me see, Mr. Toussaint, he's got 3 cycles. Anything open?
Not sure, but the last arrest was June 2021. Misdemeanor obstruction, driving without a valid license. Suspended registration. That was out of Clayton County. And November 2020, driving without a valid license. That's it.
All right. Mr. Segura, Ms. Sari, you okay?
The state's recommendation is a $1,000 surety bond, $500 for each count, no alcohol, drugs, and weapons, and a stay away from Malta as abided by suspension, which, as the warrant has noted, begins on July the 7th and ends on September the 5th of 2022. Foundations for giving a surety bond, even though this is a fare evasion and obstruction, is due to the fact that when the police tried to arrest him and when they tried to place handcuffs on him, the defendant actually resisted by pulling away, and once on the ground, the defendant attempted to strike the officer with a closed fist. So for that point, we're asking for a surety bond.
All right, thank you. Ms. Gant?
Thank you, Your Honor. Mr. Ronald Beebe is 18 years old. He has been in the Atlanta, Georgia area his entire life. He has family here. Your Honor, we are unopposed to the stay away at the incident location. Mr. Beebe completed the 10th grade. He is now working on his GED. He is currently employed at Regal Movie Theater. He obtained that job about 2 days ago. So, Your Honor, he's still on probation at his job and he's due back at work. Your Honor, we deny the allegations today, and my client has very limited history. I hear about arrests, but not any convictions. And given the nature of the allegations, I am requesting a signature bond. My client strongly denies these allegations, specifically that he offered any violence to the arresting officer. If Your Honor determines that he is ineligible for a signature bond, I would ask that Your Honor leave the bond as recommended by the state of no more than $1,000. And his mother is willing to co-sign Ms. Latasha Beebe if we receive a signature bond, which we're requesting, Your Honor. Thank you.
Where does he work? At the Regal at Atlantic Station?
At Atlantic Station, yes, Your Honor.
I see no bond set. Did you have a
Well,
bond amount?
What I'm saying, bond is not set. I'm asking for a signature bond. However, if Your Honor determines that he isn't eligible, then the $1,000 as recommended by the state.
I see. Okay, I thought there was already a bond set for that. I'm really concerned about his recent arrest and the fact that I really think that this kid needs to understand that he needs to comply with the law. I'm not certain if he got the message from his last two arrests. He's on, like you said, he's only 18?
18, Your Honor, but definitely presumed innocent in that open case.
No, I totally agree. I totally agree. Legally presumed innocent, but third arrest and third adult arrest, and he's only 18 years old. I mean,
He informs me that he was 17 at the time of the arrest on June 13, 2021. His birth date is July 10, 2003.
Miss Gant, these are not notches that we try to earn on our belt. My concern is that this is an 18-year-old kid who has been arrested 3 times already, at least in Fulton County. I don't know whether he's got arrests in other jurisdictions, but clearly, I mean, I would be glad to give him a signature bond. I don't think he learns the lesson. His bond is going to be $1,000. It's going to be $1,000 on the obstruction, and it's going to be $1,000 signature bond on the fare evasion. I need to know whether he's working at the Regal Station at Atlantic Station, because he cannot be at the Arts Theater Martyr Station.
He informs me that he is in fact employed at Regal Movie Theater. He states that he has been in contact with his job. He has not been terminated at this time, Your Honor.
Well, it's very lucky. All right, Mama wants to speak. Deputy, can you bring his mom in?
Your Honor, I am opposed. She's not a party to this case.
I'm talking to her for bond purposes. I'm not asking you about the facts of the case.
All right,
Yeah,
thank
that
you.
SOB jail?
Yeah, the one on the fare evasion. Split bond, 2K split bond.
For the obstruction, it's $1,000 good bond, Judge.
Yeah. Next court day is June 23rd. All right, good afternoon, ma'am. My name, do not talk to him, please. Okay, now, who am I addressing, please?
I'm Latasha Beebe. I'm Ronald Beebe's mother.
All right, ma'am, my concern is your kid is not getting the message the first time or the second time. Now we're here on the third time, and he's only 18 years old.
Yes,
Where does he
I'm
work?
trying to take up for Ronald. That first incident about 2 years ago, I was actually.
Your Honor, I object. I would ask the party limit her testimony to questions or issues about bond specifically.
Oh, no, I was just letting you know, that I had been talking to his boss, and she said he can come back to work.
Where does he work? Where? Which
At
location?
Atlanta Station at the movie on regional.
Okay,
movie.
and how does he get there?
Well, he gets there through the MARTA, because we don't have a car. So he's working on getting his license. I don't know why he didn't tell you that.
Oh, yeah.
He's working on getting his license. What I would have to do, and this is my word, I will have to give him a lift back and forth to his job. I just recently went back to work. I just lost my husband about 2 weeks ago. That's not even a concern, but I will make sure that he has a lift there and back to work. So he won't be at the MARTA station. I will make sure that's my word. Cause he was real excited about the job. He been there about 2 weeks? Yeah, 2.5 weeks, and this is his first job, and I don't know.
I was just ready to get home.
Mr. BB, please remain silent, sir. We don't want you to say anything that you think is helpful that could potentially harm your case.
All right, Tucson, you're not gonna like this, but I'm gonna put a $1,500 signature bond through pretrial services with mom co-signing the bond. And the fair evasion is going to be 1,000, and that's going to be a signature bond through pretrial services. It's going to be a 2,500 signature bond through pretrial services. Mom co-signs the bond.
Yes.
All right.
I will.
No. You listen very carefully now, because if he gets arrested again, if he does not report to pretrial, if he does anything in violation of a curfew, the next time you come back to Fulton County Jail, please bring $2,500 with you. But that's how much it's going to cost to get him out of jail.
Okay. You said.
So listen very carefully. Today, he's going to go through pretrial. It's a signature bond, and it's per judge. And you're going to have to co-sign the bond. He's going to stay away from all MARTA property, not just Arts Theater, every single one. He's not allowed to use the bus. He's not allowed to use the train. Do you understand?
Yes.
Do you understand?
Yes.
No buses. You cannot be in the sidewalk. You cannot be in the bathrooms. You cannot be in the parking lots. You have to stay away from all MARTA property. What are your work hours?
4 to 12, Monday to Sunday.
You're allowed to leave the house at 4 and work till midnight. And then after that, straight back home. Your mom will have to pick you up because you can't use MARTA. Do you understand?
Yes,
Someone
ma'am.
has to bring you home. You're on a curfew. The only time you're allowed out of your home is for work, for school, for medical, for court. If you get more involved with the law in these kind of ways, you're giving us more and more authority to control where you spend your time. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Thank you, ma'am. I'm done here.
Judge, what's the mother's name?
Oh, Mom, I need your full name.
Ma'am. Yes. Yes.
I need your full name.
Latasha Mishona BB.
Spell Latasha.
LATASHA.
And your last name?
BB. BEBEE.
Got it, Tucson?
Yeah, what's the curfew?
The curfew is 24 hours. He's only allowed out of the home for work, school, medical reasons, and for court.
Okay, you waiving the utility bill, I assume, since.
Yes.
All right,
All right, Mrs. Beebe,
Yes.
he's only allowed out of the home to go to work if he has to attend court or report to pretrial, if he has to seek medical services, or if he's going to school.
Okay, Your Honor, now is how long would this be?
Until the case is resolved.
Okay, thank you.
so she needs to go around the corner to co-sign the bond at the pretrial trailer.
Okay, ask the jail staff where the pretrial office is. Okay, it's outside the building.
Okay.
Thank y'all.
All right, thank you.
And Your Honor, what is the bond amount for the fair evasion?
1,000
1,000 and 1,500,
for obstruction.
1,500 for obstruction and 1,000 for fair evasion?
Yeah,
Okay, thank you.
through pretrial per judge, otherwise Tucson has a problem. All right. I have courtroom 3. Who do we have?
Hey, Judge, I'm sorry. We can go, but you can do that case in courtroom 2 because that's for Deputy Brown, who's on the
Okay.
Zoom call, please.
All
Thank
right.
you.
Yeah, see, courtroom 2, who do we have?
This is position 10, Mr. Styles.
Ancre Delone Styles Senior is accused of battery, cruelty in the third degree, simple battery, and one additional count of battery from June 8th, 2022, case number 22 CR 003630G.
Your Honor.
Mr. Stiles, you have been advised of your right to remain silent, and your attorney is Ms. Wanda Gant.
Your Honor,
Yeah,
I do apologize for interrupting, Your Honor. I would ask that this case be heard between myself and the solicitors in a breakout. And if there are complaining witnesses, that they be allowed to testify in the breakout session, given the facts of the case.
okay. Francois, we need to put him aside and take the next case.
Before, Mr. Styles. Position 5, Mr. Harris. Put your mask up for me.
Yeah, no.
I'll be right with you. Preston Harris is case number 22 CR 003628Y. Mr. Harris has been accused of simple battery from a June 8th, 2022 incident. Mr. Harris, you've been advised of your right to remain silent. Your attorney is Ms. Wanda Gant. And Toussaint, yes, sir.
8 total. On probation, cruelty to children out of Clayton County. They gave him 5 years probation for that in 2017, so that should end July 7th. Last arrest was in March for trespass, disorderly conduct. Has an open arson first degree, 20 SC 174743. That's all.
Thank you. Mr. Segura?
Yeah. The state's recommendation is a $3,000 surety bond, 1-day anger awareness, no alcohol, drugs, and weapons, as stay away from the Texaco gas station located at 1117 Lee Street, Southwest Atlanta, and no further contact with Villadilla, spelled O-M, Villadilla spelled V-I-R-A-D-I-Y-A. As the honor knows, there's a case where the defendant kept coming back to the Texaco gas station and kept into arguments with Mr. Villadilla. And in this case, Mr. Villadilla told him to leave, and when Mr. Villadilla turned his back, that's when the defendant pushed him and to squeeze him between the door frame and closing the door as he was standing in that area. And in turn, Mr. Villadilla reacted, and there was a fight between the two, whereas Mr. Villadilla was punched and struck, and all this is caught on the security camera. I actually talked to Mr. Villadilla this morning when she stated that the defendant comes to the property almost every day and harasses him and other employees. Alongside, he said that he has called the police on the defendant multiple times, but is usually gone by the time police arrive. He definitely also have to stay away from the location and no further contact with him or any other employee at the Texaco gas station. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Ms. Gant?
Thank you, Your Honor. Mr. Preston Harris is 23 years old. He has been in the Atlanta, Georgia area his entire life. He does have family here. However, he informs me that he does not have any family who is able to assist with bond. We are unopposed to the stay away, but ask that it be limited to just that Texaco gas station, as my client informs me that there are other businesses that he visits in that area. Mr. Harris completed the 12th grade. He is unemployed at this time, Your Honor, and has been so since 2018. He informs me that he did have a job interview yesterday. At this time, Your Honor, Mr. Harris denies the allegations. My client tells me that he was acting in self-defense. He states that Mr. Viridaya attacked him first, and in fact, in the warrant, the complaining witness admits that he struck my client with a bat. I am requesting a signature bond on Mr. Harris's behalf. If Your Honor determines that he is ineligible, then I would ask for the lowest bond possible, as my client does not have the means to pay anything toward bond. We are unopposed to the stay away, Your Honor. Thank you.
Is his job anywhere near there?
He is unemployed at this time, Your Honor.
The interview.
Mr. Harris, may you clarify whether or not that Family Dollar is located near the incident location 1117 Lee Street Southwest?
Please unmute, just 1 second.
No, no, ma'am, it's not in the area. It's over there by the old Brave Stadium.
Okay, sounds good. Bond is set at 2,000. It's a surety bond. Next court date is June 23rd. No further contact with Mr. Om Viridaya to stay 200 yards away from the Texaco gas station at 117 Lee Street, which means you'd have to stay away from the entire block. If it's a strip mall or something, you cannot return to that location. Your next court date is June 23rd. Thank you.
Thank you. Your Honor.
No alcohol, drugs, and weapons.
All right, you're done. Position 4, Evans.
Robert Lamar Evans, spelled E-V-I-N-S, is accused of simple battery domestic violence from May 2nd, 2021. Case number 22 CR 003-627E. Mr. Evans, you've been advised of your right to remain silent. Your attorney is Ms. Wanda Gant. Mr. Tucson?
He has over 50 total. On probation for simple assault and trespass out of Henry County.
Mhm.
Last arrest was February for terrorist threats, 2 counts of trespass, reckless conduct. He has a lot of arrests out of the state of Florida. I did see a 2005 battery DV. He got probation violations, robbery. Yeah, that's about it.
Thank you. Mr. Segura? Okay.
The state's recommendation is a $5,000 surety bond, 1-day anger awareness, narco, drugs, and weapons. A stay away from the business, which is at 1919 Metropolitan Parkway, Southwest Atlanta, and a stay away from the home, which is 91 Mount Carmel Road, 1208 McDonald, Georgia. And no further contact with Anonika Evans, spelled A-N-U-N-I-K-A, Evans, E-V-A-N-S, and Jean Sibilia, Jean, G-E-A-N, Sibilia, S-I-B-I-L-I-A. Foundations are based on the facts. As you know, it was the middle of the night when Ms. Evans and her son were cleaning the food court. At that point, the defendant came up. He was bothering, harassing customers the entire day. And at some point, he decided to push Ms. Evans, and then with close fist, he punched her on the left side of her head, in which she fell onto the ground. At which point, he continued to strike her as she was laying down. And this only stopped when her son halted the attack and rushed in. And with a security guard, they were able to get him off. Who knows how this could have ended had not the son or the security guard was not at that location. Foundation based on these facts, and also we have concerns because, as we have pretrials noted, he does have an outstanding warrant from Henry County, and he has a recent arrest in 2022, back in February, for a simple assault. It was with a different victim, but we have concerns because he does have shown violence in the past, and we're concerned about his safety because I believe, they did used to live together, but they've broken up for a couple months now. But even then, he still came back to her, even though she had said that she just has no interest in continuing that relationship. Thank you.
Is Miss Anuka Evans on the Zoom? I don't think she is. Okay, Miss Gant?
Thank you, Your Honor. Mr. Robert Evans is 54 years old. He has been in the Atlanta, Georgia area for 2 years. He tells me that he does not have any family here in Atlanta. Closest family is in Macon, Georgia. He states that no one in his family is available to help him with bond. We are unopposed to the stay away at the incident location, 1919 Metropolitan Parkway. Your Honor, Mr. Evans completed high school. He has some college in the area of environmental science and landscaping design. Mr. Evans is unemployed at this time and has been so for a while. Therefore, he does not have the means to pay anything toward bond. Your Honor, Mr. Evans denies the allegations. He states, in fact, that the complaining witness, Ms. Anuka Evans's son, actually attacked him from behind and began fighting, and that the complaining witness also hit him in the head with the stove. Your Honor, I acknowledge my client's history. However, I would ask for a signature bond in this matter, Your Honor, given my client's position and his competing version. This is a simple battery conviction. I do believe that the state's bond amount is excessive. I am requesting a signature bond. If Your Honor determines that he is ineligible, then I would ask for a bond of no more than $1,000. Regarding the conditions, Mr. Evans informs me that Miss Anuka Evans now lives in Miami, Florida. My client did reference a 911. My client did reference an address in McDonough, Georgia, as being his residence, Your Honor. So we are opposed to a stay away from there. However, since I have not been able to get in contact with Miss Evans, we are asking for a one-time law enforcement escort at that location to retrieve any belongings. And we are, again, we are unopposed to any no contact orders, as my client does not want contact with the complaining witness, Your Honor. Thank you.
All right, Ms. Gant, so according to you, you're saying that there was a third person inside this food truck, and that was Miss Evans's son?
Yes, the warrant states that the son, but I believe the warrant states that the son had to intervene. My client tells me that Miss Evans's son actually attacked him first.
I see. And then there is, okay.
Buying up the money from the.
Mr. Evans, please remain silent while the judge is ruling. I don't want you to say anything that's going to negatively impact your case.
I don't think it's a negative impact the case. If it's the truth, we was divided.
Mr. Evans, remain silent, please. I don't want you to say anything that's going to be harmful to you, sir.
Bond is set at $2,000. It's a surety bond. No further contact with Miss Anuka Evans. No further contact with Miss Anuka Evans and her immediate family members, which includes her whoever's a significant other or spouse or children. And to stay away from 1919 Metropolitan Parkway, the incident location. No alcohol, no drugs, no weapons. Next court date is June 23rd. Thank you.
Y'all, my lawyer didn't tell you that she took the trailer and left and moved to Miami. She took all my belongings.
Evans, the judge has ruled, sir. Please remain silent. I'll give you a call. Whatever you say is not likely to be helpful to your case.
Next case, please.
Position 12, Mr. Tears.
Ms. Kim needs to go into a breakout with position 8. Is that possible, Francois? Or can she call the jail if he's there?
Yes, she can call.
Awesome.
All right.
Thank you. I'll do that.
Do
Sure.
you have the number, Ms. Kim?
Yes, I do have a number.
Okay, excellent.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, so we have Rasul Sean Tears, accused of theft by shoplifting from June 7th, 2022. Mr. Tears, you've been advised of your right to remain silent, and your attorney is, oops, is it Ms. Gant? Or is it Ms. Kim?
Um,
Miss Kim? Oh, she's on the phone.
I apologize, I was on the phone.
That's okay. Is that your client, Tears? Russell Tears?
Yes, he is my client as well, Your Honor.
Okay, let's deal with him. Case number 22 CR 003-626C. And Mr. Tucson, any priors?
24 total. He had a 2010 robbery conviction out of Indiana. Last arrest was 2016, driving under the influence out of Kentucky. Also has history out of Illinois. Hold up. Last cycle in Illinois was in 2003 for theft. I did see a 2000 robbery in Illinois as well. That was a conviction. He got old robberies.
What was the year of those thefts?
I see a 03 theft.
Okay, all right. Thank you. Ms. Sari?
Yes, Your Honor. In this case, officers responded to Racetrack located at 2250 Camp Creek Parkway in College Park. Upon arrival, officers spoke with the store clerk who stated that the defendant came into the store. He asked for a couple of plastic bags and then he proceeded to take several alcoholic beverages without paying for them. When the clerk yelled out for him to stop, the defendant ignored her and walked out. The officers were able to locate the defendant based on the clerk's description of him, and they detained him. They also noticed that his speech was slurred and they smelled alcohol coming from his breath. When the defendant was searched incident to arrest, he did still possess those stolen alcohol beverages on his person. As we've heard from pretrial, this defendant is he's no stranger to taking items. He has a 2005 robbery guilty convictions, a 2010 robbery and obstruction that resulted in a guilty conviction. So due to his risk of reoffending, as well as the state's concern, due to the fact that he had a DUI in 2016, the state's recommendation is a $2,000 surety bond, a stay away from the incident location, and no drugs, alcohol, or weapons while on bond. Nothing further.
Thank you. Ms. Kim?
Yes, Your Honor, Mr. Russell is actually 49 years old and he has been here in Georgia about 8 years. He does not have any family whatsoever and he has recently been terminated by his employer, so he does not have any job either. So he has no financial means to make any payment for the bond. So we would like to request for a signature on bond. And yet, if Your Honor is not inclined to give him a signature on bond because of his history, which DUI is 6 years ago, we would like to request for very, very low surety bond for $250, Your Honor. Thank you.
Thank you. Bond is set as $1,000. It's a surety bond. Next court date is June 23rd. To stay away from the racetrack, 200 yards away from 2250 Camp Creek Parkway in Atlanta, Georgia. Thank you.
I don't understand what surety means.
10%.
I'll explain to you when I call.
So,
Mr. Russell, please stay silent. You have every right to remain silent.
And Your Honor, I'm sorry, can we impose that no drugs, alcohol, or weapons while on bond?
No drugs and no alcohol. There you go.
Thank you.
No illegal drugs.
Thank you.
what?
Position 7, Mr. Johnson. Come on, Johnson.
I'm sorry, position 2. Do we have something? Oh, yes.
I have position 1 in courtroom 3, Judge. I don't think courtroom 2 is ready. Thank you.
Ms. Gant, are you ready to address Ms. Ashley Bateman?
Your Honor, that is conflict counsel's case.
Okay, Ms. McLeod, are we ready to proceed?
Your Honor, we are.
Okay. We have Ashley Bateman, case number 22 CR 003-621H, accused of battery domestic violence from a January 5th, 2022 incident. Ms. Bateman, my name is Judge Law, and your attorney is going to be Ms. McLeod. You also have a right to remain silent. Anything you say in open court, your statements can and will be used against you. Mr. Tucson, any priors on Ms. Bateman?
Yes, last arrest was June 2021 for battery. She's on probation for that now. 21 CR 003-034H. Has an open case for carrying weapons within the school safety zone. Trespass. That's an old case. That's 18 CP 178446. She went to felony earlier, and would assume it was no bond based on those charges. That's all I have.
All right, thank you.
This is her fourth arrest, FYI.
Ms. Sauri or Mr. Segura?
Here's my case. The state's recommendation is a $5,000 cash bond, 1-day anger awareness, no alcohol, drugs, and weapons, a stay away from 3200 Cushman, Solcorn, Atlanta, and no further contact with Ashley Banks. Common spending. Foundations based on the facts, which, as the warrant has noted, Ms. Defendant went to Ms. Banks's location, which is at Cushman apartment, and at that time, she has been there for 2 weeks, and when she did show up, she said she wanted to lay with Ms. Banks and her child, and was denied. At that point, the defendant asked about a necklace, which was given to Ms. Banks, which Ms. Banks jokingly said it was lost, which ended up making the defendant even more angry. At that point, she found the necklace and then showed it to the defendant, but the defendant turned violent, telling her to stop playing around. At that point, she pulled a gun from her waist and then said to the youngest daughter of Ms. Banks to step back. At that point, daughter began to scream, and then the defendant put the gun back into her waistband and began attacking Ms. Banks, ripping her braids out of her head, and then beating her repeatedly about her head with her face and fist. At that point, when officers arrived, they were able to see that she had significant swelling on the left side of her face and her eye. Alongside, they noticed that her braids whipped out of her head. Foundations also mostly noted to the other arrest that was actually on felony this morning. Mostly, she has multiple, and all related with Ms. Banks, because we see that there's history of abuse in it. And March the 25th, 2022, the defendant is charged with armed robbery of Ms. Ashley Banks' vehicle, hijacking of a motor vehicle, possession of a firearm, and knife knowing commission or attempted commission of a felony, and aggravated assault with intent to rob. And this is all with Ms. Ashley Banks. Alongside, in October the 29th, 2021, she is charged with terroristic threats felony with Ms. Ashley Banks, and she said she's going to kill her. Alongside, back in May the 27th, 2022, last month, there was another case of Ms. Ashley Banks was a criminal trespass family violence, in which the defendant broke the window glass of Ms. Banks. Alongside, she also had aggravated assault with intent to rob, in which she pulled out a gun and demanded that Ms. Banks go up to an ATM and get some money. Alongside, there was armed robbery felony, again with Ms. Banks. Alongside, robbery by selling, snatching, home invasion in the first degree, and kidnapping, all this with Ms. Ashley Banks. As you can see, she has serious issues with Ms. Ashley Banks, and we have significant concern about her safety. So because of this, we're asking for a cash bond. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. McLeod?
Yes, Your Honor. My client is 21 years old, Your Honor. She tells me that she is disabled and has been disabled essentially all her life. I believe her mom is on the Zoom. I actually spoke with her mom, and she said that she would be appearing. She denies all of these allegations. She said that Ashley, the other Ashley, the alleged victim, is someone that she used to be in a relationship with, but that the relationship had ended, and she got vindictive because my client was going back to a former girlfriend. I understand that she does have some history, Your Honor, but she suffers from a disability, and based on that, I would ask the court to take that into consideration in setting her bond. Her mother is supposed to be on the Zoom. Her name is Melissa Blackman, Your Honor. She may be on. She might be able to give the court a little insight onto what is going on with her daughter.
Ms. Blackman, if you'd like to unmute,
Yes, ma'am.
would you like to address the court?
Yes, she had.
Ms. Blackman, your
It's a lot going on with that. We was just in court yesterday. Actually, you can't hear me? Hold
your
on.
internet is
I'm
going
at the
in and out.
work. I'm finna get out of here. Let me see. Hold on. Can you hear me now?
I can't see you.
Hold on. Give me 1 second. Let me get it together. Can you hear me now, Judge?
Yes, I can. What would you like to tell us?
Okay, it's a lot going on. My daughter, she just was shot last year 8 times. And we was at court yesterday when they got my daughter, Ashley. Ashley Banks' baby's father, he shot her 8 times. So we going through that along with her saying that she did all of this to her. They was in a relationship. I was helping them buy food. I was helping them find them somewhere to stay. I was helping them do everything. And they done got into several altercations, but it's just not on my daughter. It's on her too. And it's crazy because you could call the police and state stuff that's not true. And I don't think that that's fair.
What's not
if y'all
fair?
pull it up, y'all to see like how people can say that a person allegedly did this and that, and then when they leave, they call the police and say this happened and it didn't happen.
Okay. Anything else?
She always go to her court dates. I always make sure that I'm trying to get her another evaluation as we speak. So I just really don't understand this. Like, how could you just make accusations and if they're not true? Those are some serious charges that she had. And y'all was in a relationship. Y'all, she was paying her rent, helping her pay the car note. The same car that she's saying she carjacked her, she was paying the car note and doing all of this stuff.
Okay.
Your Honor, this witness was.
Thank you, Ms. Blackman. No, just 1 second. Just 1 second, Mr. Segura. All right. Ms. McLeod, do you have anything else to add?
No, Your Honor, just to say that she clearly has some issues. As her mom says, she is trying to get her another evaluation. And I would like the court to take that into consideration in setting the bond, and also the fact that they seem to have come to charges going against each other. Before that, this incident also happened in January. It's not that recent, and they do not live together anymore.
All right, thank you.
Excuse me, can I say one more thing?
Yes, ma'am.
When they break up, she go back. Look how far the incident is. You let her come back, then you put her out. Like this your fault too. Like you put out, you let her come back. Like, why would you do that to somebody? If they helping you pay your bills, I just don't understand, Judge. Like, you see how far these incidents is with her. Like, you got to be letting her come back for you to keep saying she doing stuff to you.
All right. Anything else?
That'll be all. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Mr. Segura, you have something to add?
I was going to point out that Ms. Blackman was not a witness to this charge or any of these related charges. And so I just want to take that into consideration.
That Ms. Blackman, okay. All right. Bond is going to be set at 4,500. It is a surety bond. No further contact with Ashley Banks. I didn't recall the location.
It's at 3200 Cushman, Salcorn, Atlanta.
Okay. And to stay away from 3200 Cushman Circle in Atlanta, Georgia. If you make bond, you'll be required to update the court with your current residential address so we can send you notices of when to come back to court. No illegal drugs, no weapons, and no firearms. Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Position 7, Mr. Johnson.
Mr. Sean O'Kenley Johnson is charged with obtaining an unlawful entry into MARTA and criminal trespass from a June 8th, 2022 incident. Mr. Johnson, you've been advised of your right to remain silent, and your attorney is Ms. Wanda Gant. Mr. Tucson?
Sorry about that. 32 total. Last arrest was last month. Criminal trespass. South Fulton. He got an open trespass, possession of marijuana, and open shoplifting in DeKalb County. Also has history out of the state of Florida. 2020 failed to leave property. That was a conviction. He had a loitering problem as well. He had a lot of criminal trespass. Failed to appear out of Florida, Judge.
That's good. Thank you. Ms. Sari?
Yes, Your Honor. This incident occurred at the MARTA station located at 680 Lee Street in Atlanta. Officers observed the defendant pushing his way through the gate without paying the required fee. The defendant did also have an active MARTA suspension. As we've heard from pretrial, this defendant, he actually has at least 6 criminal trespass guilty convictions within the last 4 years. Your Honor, I would like to point out that last year in December of 2021, the defendant had a criminal trespass, fare evasion, and disorderly conduct, which he pled guilty to. Your Honor, you were actually the judge that sat on that case, and you gave him a $1,500 pretrial bond, and here he is today with similar acts. So the state's recommendation in this case is a $3,000 surety bond, comply with all MARTA suspensions, and no drugs, alcohol, or weapons while on bond. Nothing further.
All right, thank you. Ms. Gant?
Thank you, Your Honor. Mr. Sean Johnson is 29 years old. He has been in the Atlanta, Georgia area for 2 years. He does have family, and again, he does not have anyone to help him pay bond. Your Honor, we are unopposed to the stay away from MARTA if there's an active suspension in place. Mr. Johnson completed the 11th grade. He is unemployed, and he's unemployed because he is disabled. He has been disabled since middle school, Your Honor. Today we deny the allegations, and despite my client's history, I am asking for a signature bond based on the nature of the allegations, Your Honor. If Your Honor determines that he is ineligible, then I would ask for a bond of no more than $1,000, and that would be $500 for each count. Thank you.
Bond, it says 2,000 is a surety bond. Stay away from all MARTA property, no illegal drugs, and no weapons and no firearms. Next court date is June 23rd. 1,000 on each.
All right, thank you, Your Honor.
Position 6, Hunt.
That's 9, correct, Principal?
Let me double check.
Is that Jimmy
Position
Stevens?
6, Hunt. This is Mr. Hunt, position 6.
6, I'm sorry, okay. And Holly, that was stay away from all MARTA property. Yeah, no, just stay away from all MARTA property. Okay. Position 6, I'm sorry, let me get to that case. And this would be Zatar Hunt, charged with battery from November 30th, 2021, case number 22 CR 003-623E. Mr. Hunt, you have been advised of your right to remain silent, and your attorney is Ms. McLeod. Any priors, Mr. Tucson?
Total,
I'm sorry, we didn't hear that first part.
27 total.
Mhm.
Last arrest was December 2021. Probation violation. It was from the U.S. Marshal Service. He has an open battery in state court, 21 CR 007-396E as in Edward. He got federal probation violations in his history, 2019, 2020, 2016. What else? That battery come from December 2021.
Mhm.
Arrest, possession of cocaine, conviction 2010. And he had an 04 charge. I'm gonna put it in the chat for you. State, you see the 04 charge?
I do.
Okay. Who's the attorney? McLeod?
Yes.
That's
All right, thank you. Ms. McLeod?
Yes,
Oh, sorry, sorry,
Yes.
Ms. Sari. Is it Ms. Sari? Mr. Segura, yes.
Okay, the state's recommendation is a $5,000 surety bond, 1-day anger awareness, narco, drugs, and weapons, a stairway from 634 Roy Huey Road, Riverdale, and no further contact with Joseph Kashush. Joseph, common spelling, Kashu, KashoUh. As the owner knows, Mr. Kashu went to the Chevron gas station located at 4875 National Highway, College Park. They gave his friend Portia a ride. At that point, before he gave a ride, he asked her for some money. When she got mad and called someone on the phone to express her displeasure. While Mr. Kashu was walking away, he was attacked from behind by Miss Portia, as well as the defendant. And Miss Kashu fell to the ground, and then the defendant struck him and continued to strike him on his head and face area with his fist. Mr. Kashu said it was so bad that he had to cover his head until the attack was over with. It's only when he felt that they stopped and walked away that he ran for safety. At that point, the police saw him. His face had heavy swelling, and he had multiple lacerations to his head. The state is especially concerned because Mr. Hashau and this Miss Portia seem to be friends, and so we have concerns that she might probably know where he lives, and that's why we have that's why we're adding to stay away from his house, because we're not sure what the relationship really is and how much information she knows about Mr. Joseph Hashush. Alongside, we have such concerns based on his history, as he does have that open battery case. Alongside, we know he has a lack of community ties, as has most recent cases in Texas from 2018 is that federal conspiracy to defraud. As long as 2020 probation violation, so we are concerned that he could commit some sort of crime while he is out. Thank you.
And that battery case was after this one, wasn't it? That open battery case?
Yes, I found December the 7th, so 8 days.
Okay, all right. Ms. McLeod?
Yes, Your Honor. My client is 43 years old. He's married and he has an 8-year-old daughter. He tells me that he is the sole provider for his wife and his daughter. He tells me that this incident with Mr. Kassus arose because they actually knew each other very well, and he would often employ Mr. Kassus to take his wife around. At the time, he said his wife was on crutches and had to go to Grady Hospital, and that Mr. Kassus put her out at this gas station and decided he was going to take her. So that was what caused the altercation, because she had their 7-year-old daughter with her at the time, and she herself couldn't walk. So she called them, and they had an argument, and they got into kind of a mutual combat situation, Your Honor. But he has been incarcerated since December of last year. He has told me that he wants to take a plea, Your Honor. I did send a message in the chat to the prosecutor, but I haven't had a response, because he really wants to go home now so he can see his wife and his daughter, and he can continue to take care of his family's business.
Okay. On this particular case, the bond's going to be set at $1,500. It is a surety bond. No further contact with Joseph Kashush, and to stay away from the Chevron gas station at 4875 Old National Highway in College Park, Georgia. If he would like to consider a plea, we'll be glad to visit both cases on June 23rd. And that would be this case ending in 3623E and his other case, 21 CR 007-396E. And we'll schedule.
23rd, Your Honor. On the 23rd of June.
On the 23rd, yes.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Yes, Mr. Hunt.
Yes, Your Honor. How you doing? First of all, Your Honor, I have no other
You
priors.
can ask up.
I have no other priors. I've been locked up ever since the
Mr. Hunt,
the
the judge has gotten the picture. Believe me, you do have the right to remain silent, and you should exercise that. We are going to revisit your case on the 23rd.
Your Honor, can you also add there are no alcohol, drugs, and weapons?
Yes, that's already standard with the bond.
So, Your Honor, I already had a bond.
You have a bond of 1,500, and we're going to address both your open cases on June 23rd. If you make, I'm sorry, I can't hear you.
I don't have no open cases, Your Honor.
Are you Mr. Zatar Hunt?
Yes, I don't have no open cases.
Well, I'm afraid you're gonna have to talk to your attorney about that. Would you like me to tell you your open case?
Yes, ma'am.
Zatar Hunt. You have this case, which is from the November 30th, 2021 incident involving Portia and Joseph. And that case number is 22 CR 003-623E. And that case is going to be addressed on June 23rd.
Could you repeat that case number, Your Honor? Please.
It's the accusation from today, 22 CR 003-623E. The second case is 21 CR 007-396E. And that is from an incident date of September 30th, 2021, battery, domestic violence. And he had a signature bond through the jail on that one.
Okay. No idea.
For Zatar Hunt.
Yes.
He was booked in on December 7th, 2021, and he was released on December 23rd, 2021.
I didn't get released, Your Honor. The marshals came and got me. And this case was already, a warrant was already out for me when I was currently incarcerated for the November 7th.
Let me just check that booking sheet. I do see that he was returned to state prison, but that was in 2018.
I went to the marshal. The marshal came and got me on the 23rd of December, Your Honor.
Yeah, you're right. You and I are both correct on that one.
Yes, and this case right here with Joseph, with Kazuna, that was already out for, there was a warrant already out for me while I was already doing my time.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. So far, I don't disagree with anything you said. But that means at the end that you have 2 state cases open right now, and we'll address them on June 23rd. All right, thank you.
All right.
Thank you, Your Honor. Your Honor, that concludes my business before the court today. May I be excused?
Yes, you may. Thank you very much, Ms. McLeod. You have a good week.
You too, Judge. Thanks.
Position 11, Taylor.
Ah, shit.
Okay, Nathaniel Taylor is accused of theft by taking from June 8th, 2022, case number 22 CR 003-629B. Mr. Taylor, you have been advised of your right to remain silent. Your attorney is Ms. Kim. And Mr. Tucson, any priors?
He went to felony first appearance earlier, so I had to go get his history.
All right,
Unless the state has it.
And this is my case, Your Honor.
all right. Ms. Sari, would you like to elaborate?
Yes, this incident took place at the Fulton County Jail, Your Honor, and it took place just yesterday. While on duty in the Fulton County Jail, Officer Corbin noticed that her personal bag was missing. The officer went to review cameras and saw the defendant on camera in an unauthorized area for inmates. When the officers went to question the defendant, he actually admitted to taking the bag because he saw pills inside of them and wanted them. This bag did contain the officer's prescribed medication and a handcuff key. That handcuff key and medication was never recovered. Your Honor, this defendant does have a theft by shoplifting guilty conviction from 2020, a 2020 FTA. He was actually in custody for possession of drugs and theft by receiving. That's an open felony case. And he does have a judicial hold for a theft by receiving 2019 case. So due to these actions, Your Honor, the state's recommendation is a $5,000 surety bond, no violent contact with the victim of detention officer Corbin, alcohol and drug evaluations, and no drugs, alcohol, or weapons while on bond. Nothing further.
All right, Ms. Kim?
Yes, Your Honor, Mr. Taylor is 23 years old, and he has been here in Georgia for about a few years. He was born instead of MS, and his parents both deceased. He does not have any children, or he's not married. He has cousins, but he does not have anybody else who can help him with bonding him out. He has been having odd jobs for the last 1 year since he has been unemployed. He has done some odd jobs for little cashes here and there. So I am actually requesting social worker services to help him out with his housing resources. He does need some help. So we would like to request for a signature on bond. And yet, if Your Honor is not inclined to give him a signature on bond, we would like to request for the minimum surety bond of $250, Your Honor. Thank you.
Okay. Bond set at $2,500 is a surety bond. Next court date is June 23rd. Don't take anything from any of the staff at the Fulton County Jail. That's your condition. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am, but that's not what happened. But yes,
Please do not say anything. You have every right to remain silent. You may want to stay silent.
I agree.
All right. Position 9, Stephens.
And I'm sorry, Judge, what were those conditions?
Don't take anything not belonging to you.
Can we also impose that no violent contact with the officer?
You know, I think the jail also has their own administrative proceeding within there, so I'm going to let them deal with that.
Okay, thank you.
We have Jimmy Stevens, case number 22 CR 003631C. And Mr. Stevens has been accused of battery, domestic violence from an August 17, 2021 incident. Mr. Stevens, you've been advised of your right to remain silent, and your attorney is Ms. Kim. Any priors, Mr. Tucson?
18 total. On probation, criminal damage to property, second degree. Open felony terrorist threats. No, open felony obstruction, I'm sorry. And 2 counts of simple battery. Last arrest was 2020 out of Clayton County, probation violation. 2018 trespass damage conviction, 2014 battery DV NOLO. You got another fade to appear as well. 2011. That's it.
All right.
It's my case, Your Honor, sorry. Your Honor, this incident took place at 3225 Jackson Street in Hapeville. Officers responded actually to a different location. It was a supermarket called Super A Mart. The victim actually called the police and asked them to meet her there. Upon arrival to the supermarket, the defendant was seen leaving on a bike. The victim informed officers that while they were visiting a friend's home, which was the incident location, the defendant accused her of cheating and struck her in the face with an open hand. The defendant then left the scene, but he came back and struck the victim again in the stomach and in her face, and it caused bruising and swelling. That victim's name is Holly, Holly, Marie Cravens, and last name is spelled Cravens. Your Honor, as we've heard from pretrial, the defendant does have open cases. The last being possession of a drug-related object and possession of a Schedule 1 or 2 controlled substance. That's open in felony court. He does have an ag battery, terroristic threats, obstruction, false name, that's open. So that's 2 open felony cases. He has a 2018 criminal damage to property, a case that was a guilty conviction. And Your Honor, his abuse goes back to the 90s, as we were able to find a 1998 battery against the same victim. I was not able to locate the disposition as we had different technology back then, but the state's recommendation is a $5,000 surety bond, no contact with the victim, 1-day anger awareness course, and no drugs, alcohol, or weapons. Nothing further.
All right. Ms. Kim?
Yes, Your Honor. Mr. Jimmy Stevens is 42 years old, and he has been here in Georgia all his life. He has been married for about 2 years to the complaining witness, and they are actually separated. This incident happened on August 17, 2021. There has been plenty of cooling time. They have no contact right now. They don't live together. It's kind of like in the past right now. He's been working as a night security guard at mechanic's shop for about a year. He has 11th grade of educations, and we would like to request for a signature on bond. And yet, if Your Honor is not inclined to give him a signature on bond because of current open cases, we would like to request for maximum $1,000 surety bond, Your Honor. Thank you.
All right. Bond is set at $2,500. It is a surety bond. No further contact with Holly, middle initial M Cravens. And I'm not sure about the location, but I've got a Dogwood Drive, Hapeville. Is that?
That was their prior residence. They're, according to the warrant, they don't live there anymore.
Okay. So I'm just going to stay 200 yards away from Holly Cravens, which means staying away from her place of work, where she lives, where she happens to be standing. You're not to have any communication with her in any way, form, or manner. Your next court date is June 23rd.
What is this name?
Thank you, Your Honor.
Position 8, Morris.
All right, Mr. Kim, shall we proceed with this one?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, Mr. Hezekiah Morris Jr., 22 CR 003-632E. Charges are fair evasion and obstruction of an officer from June 8th, 2022. Martha was having a field day. What is that? Mr. Morris, you've been advised of your right to remain silent, and your attorney is going to be Ms. Kim. Mr. Tucson?
Last arrest was 2016 for forgery. Uttering forged instrument. That's out of North Carolina. 2012 history out of Virginia. Assault and battery, DV, dismissed. Got a DUI. 2010 felonious assault conviction. He got a fugitive from justice hold and a hold out of Dublin, Georgia.
He's got a warrant out of Virginia.
Yeah, that's the fugitive one, if I'm not mistaken.
He's got a hold out of DC. Is that correct?
He got a hold out of Dublin, Georgia, and the fugitive warrant is out of Virginia.
Oh, I see. Okay.
2013 assault and battery guilty, 2012 eluding police conviction.
All right, that's good. Thank you. Ms. Sari?
Yes. This incident took place at MARTA located at 641 West Peachtree Street. MARTA officers observed the defendant pushing through the gate without paying the required fee. And when given verbal commands to put his hands behind his back, he did attempt to flee by foot. As we've heard from pretrial, this defendant does have he does have holds, one in Virginia, one in Dublin. He also has a 2012 felony fleeing and eluding conviction that was out of Virginia. So he is a multi-state offender. The state's recommendation is a $1,000 surety bond with conditions to comply with all MARTA suspensions and no drugs, alcohol, or weapons. Nothing further.
All right, Ms. Kim?
Yes, Your Honor. Mr. Morris is 43 years old and he is currently residentially challenged. He's actually staying at shelter next door. So we would like to request for a signature on bond for this case, so that way he can be taken to Dublin, Georgia to take care of the issues over there, the warrant and hold from Dublin, Georgia. He has been here in Georgia for about 4 years. He does not have any family members who can help him here in Georgia. So he has a computer science, computer engineering associate degree from the college. And he also served USA for the country in the Navy from 1996 to 1998. He is currently experiencing PTSD, and yet he's working as a manager at McDonald's, being a positive contributing citizen of US. So we would like to request for a signature on bond for this matter, so he can take care of those two other warrants, Your Honor.
All right.
And I'm sorry, Your Honor, just to give you the breakdown, the recommendation was $1,000 surety bond, and that would be $1,000 for each charge. So making that a $2,000 surety bond. And the reason for the bond is we are concerned with his ties to the community, nothing further.
Well, what about a signature bond through the jail and a release to the hold only?
That sounds very reasonable, Your Honor.
The state would defer to the court, but we are insistent on that surety bond. He does have a history of fleeing, so we're concerned with the fact that he would come back to answer for these charges, and then that hold is right up the street in Dublin. So that's why we're asking for the surety bond.
It's the $1,000 surety bond, 500 on each count. If he makes bond, he's only permitted to be released to the fugitive hold or the Dublin hold. Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you, Your Honor.
And to stay away from all MARTA property until further order of the court. I don't care what suspensions he has.
Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am. Yes, Your Honor.
Come on, Mr. Stiles. Position 10, Stiles.
That's the breakout, Your Honor?
Yes, Your Honor.
All
That
right.
is breakout.
Okay, and who did you want in the breakout? Officer Brown?
Your Honor, I'm requesting the breakout with the ASG, Your Honor, and myself. And if the complaining witness is present, then that they be allowed to testify in the breakout after the initial session with counsel.
What is the complaining witness's name?
Makika Hester, a minor child, and Khalil Hester.
Negative, I never heard transport.
Those are the victims.
All right, I don't see them there, so we're going to, all right, let's put SCOG 33. We have the prosecutors at that panel, Officer Lois Brown, PD Wanda Gant, and myself in a breakout room, please.
Judge, those desktop computers are manually logged in, so they're not available to go into the breakout rooms. But they'll still hear the conversation because y'all.
Oh, I see what you mean. Okay, go ahead and, yeah, go ahead and put Officer Brown, Ms. Gant, and, myself in the breakout.
And
We are back from the sidebar and we are addressing this case 22 CR 003-630G. This is State versus Encre DeLone Styles Senior, accused of battery, cruelty in the third degree, simple battery, and one more count of battery. Officer Lois Brown, we have already warrants for these charges, yes?
Yes.
All right. We are not going to make any reference to the nature of the proceeding that was going on inside the courtroom before this altercation took place, okay?
Understand, I have no knowledge prior to me getting there.
Okay, good. So, so we do have warrants for these charges. These are brought against Mr. Stiles. This is for an altercation that occurred outside a, well, at 185 Central Avenue. And from the incident and based on the evidence presented to the magistrate, warrants were issued against Mr. Stiles, finding that it was more likely than not, that was establishing probable cause to support these charges. Mr. Stiles, these are charges brought against you for an incident that occurred in the courthouse, completely unrelated to the hearing inside. You have a right to remain silent. Anything you say about the facts of this case, your statements can and will be used against you. And based on what your attorney says, it would be a very smart thing to remain silent because you don't want it to prejudice anything else that's going on in your life. Do you understand? All right. You have a right to an attorney. Ms. Wanda Gant from the Public Defender's Office will be representing you. With regards to position 10, Mr. Stiles, I understand that he has 31 cycles of arrest. Is that correct, Mr. Tucson?
Yes.
All right. Anything open at the present time?
I mean, besides if he on probation for the drugs, I haven't seen anything else. Though.
Okay. Ms. Sari, what's your bond recommendation for Mr. Stiles?
Yes, Your Honor. The state's bond recommendation is a $10,000 surety bond. That would be $3,000 on the battery charges, $2,000 on cruelty, and $2,000 on simple battery. And Your Honor, well, no further violent contact with the victims and no drugs, alcohol, or weapons. The reason why the state came in so high at this bond amount is that, as you mentioned, this incident did take place at a criminal court proceeding right outside the courtroom.
We've already gone over this detail, so let's get to the bond amounts.
Yes. So the 10,000 surety, 3,000 on each battery, 2,000 on the remaining two charges.
Okay.
And the defendant does have a FTA in his history, so we would like the court to consider that as well.
And no contact with whom?
I have no further violent contact with the victims.
No violent contact?
Yes. No contact. I will amend that to no contact, Your Honor.
No contact with Macklin Hester?
Makika Hester, Makika Khalil, Kahleel Hester, and then a minor child by the initials of CH.
Okay.
Thank you.
And Your Honor, may I have the date of the FTA?
Tucson, do you have an FTA issued right now?
There's an FTA issued.
A failure to appear? Do you have the date, Ms. Sari?
Yes, Your Honor. I have the year. It's 2011.
Oh, okay. I'm not sure whether it's still, is it a probation warrant?
It resulted from an arrest for identity theft. That case was a felony case. It wasn't presented to a grand jury.
Okay, so it really doesn't apply. Ms. Gant, do you have a bond recommendation or contact recommendation?
Yes, Your Honor, I am requesting a signature bond on Mr. Styles' behalf. Yes, he is on probation, but this stems from a nonviolent conviction in 2020. The FTA is remote. I am requesting a signature bond. If Your Honor determines that he is ineligible, then I would ask for a bond of no more than $3,000. That would be $1,000 for the batteries. I'm sorry, there are two batteries, 1,000 for each battery, 1,000 for the, let me back up, Your Honor. 1,000 for the battery, 1,000 for the cruelty to children, 1,000 for the simple battery, and 1,000 for the additional batteries, for a total of no more than $4,000 surety bond. I would ask for no violent contact, given that there may need to be some contact. However, we are willing to limit that to no contact unless supervised by court personnel. Just a little bit about Mr. Styles. He is 49 years old. He has been in the Atlanta, Georgia area his entire life. He has two sons. He is the primary caretaker of his grandchild, who is 12 years old. He also has a 12-year-old son. Your Honor, Mr. Styles has a bachelor's of arts in business administration. He is self-employed with Styles Property Management. Your Honor, my client denies the allegations, and he is, of course, presumed innocent. And for these reasons, again, Your Honor, I'm requesting that signature bond, given no violence in my client's history or recent violence. The FTA is remote, and again, the probation is for a nonviolent offense. Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you. Officer Brown, I've already placed you under oath, and I understand that you were one of the officers responding to the scene. Do you have anything to add?
No, other than he was, his aggression showed that he needed to be tased to subdue him. And after giving lawful verbal commands, he disobeyed the first one and attempted to grasp an elderly woman, which caused him to be tased.
All right. Thank you.
Your Honor, if I may, I would just add that there is no allegation that my client battered any elderly person. And again, my client denies the allegations as stated by the officer.
Understood. Thank you. This incident occurred in a public building where individuals come here every day because there are very, very difficult situations for everyone, not just Mr. Styles. We have hundreds, if not thousands of people who come in through the building every day because everyone has to go to a courtroom or to a hearing or to a proceeding because they are dealing with difficulties in their lives. And one thing that we mandate in this building is civility and peace. And this incident yesterday totally was a complete breach of those rules. This kind of conduct is not tolerated in any of our judicial centers. And it caused not only anxiety among those who were part of that, viewing that, but also anxiety among law enforcement, who not only had to address the scene, but also had to address the security of the building to make sure that everyone else in this enormous building center are secure. This behavior is absolutely not tolerated. And I am sorry, Mr. Styles, that you're going through a devastating time in your life. But again, this conduct is not tolerated. Your bond is set at $10,000. On the counts of batteries, $3,000 each. Cruelty is $2,000. The simple battery is $2,000. It's a $10,000 surety bond. You're not permitted into the Justice Center Tower building, where the Justice Center complex, unless you are accompanied by a law enforcement official. You have to approach the sheriff's department to let them know that you have to attend a proceeding, and then they will make sure that they have law enforcement there to accompany you at that proceeding. Do you understand, sir? They will escort you to the proceeding, and they will escort you out of the building.
Yes.
You're not to have any contact with Makika Hester, Khalil Hester, and CH. You're to stay, actually, you're not to have any contact with any members of the Hester family. You're to stay 200 yards away from them. You're not to communicate with them in any way, form, or manner. You're not to communicate with them through a third party, indirectly through a phone, through a any kind of electronic device, and you're not to discuss them on any social media. Do you understand?
Yes.
So it's Makika Hester and Khalil Hester and their immediate family members. No contact with any of them. You're not to possess any weapons and any firearms. You're not to consume any illegal drugs and no alcohol.
Yes.
And no entry into the Fulton County Justice Center complex unless you are accompanied by a law enforcement officer.
Yes.
That is the most important thing in order to make sure that you conduct yourself accordingly. Understood?
Yes, ma'am. Your Honor, I actually want to question. I'm down here for real estate a lot. I just come down here for real estate. Do I need to go?
Mr. Stiles,
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Stiles, may I contact you and answer any question that you may have, sir? I advise you to remain silent.
Okay.
Your Honor.
Next court date is June 23rd. Yes, ma'am.
I just want to be clear. So he has to be accompanied by law enforcement. However, if the complaining witnesses are present, will he still be allowed or permitted to attend?
The deputies and the law enforcement already know there's no contact between him and the Hester family, and they would accommodate that in the courtroom accordingly. Officer Brown, can you back me up on that?
Yes, Your Honor. I'll get with my supervisors and we'll make a note to let all deputies know that that's the order by the courts.
All right, I appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Yes.
Thank you, Your Honor.
All right, that concludes this case. Officer Brown, thank you very much. You're free to go if you'd like to, or free to
Thank you,
stay if
Judge.
you'd like to watch. Okay,
Thank you, Judge.
All right. Next case, please, in courtroom 2.
We're completed here in courtroom 2, Judge.
All right.
Thank
Do
you.
we have South Annex or Union City? You good?
They're done.
Okay. So just to go down the calendar, position 1 is 4,500 surety bond, reset date June 23rd. Position 2 BB is a 2,500 signature bond pretrial for judge and 24-hour curfew and stay away from all model property until further order of the court. And he needs a co-signer. Davis Farley is a 1,500 surety bond, reset date June 23rd. Position 4 is a 2,000 surety bond, reset date June 23rd. Position 5 is a 2,000 surety bond, reset date June 23rd. Position 6 Hunt is a 1,500 surety bond, reset June 23rd. 7 Johnson is a 2,000 surety bond, reset date June 23rd. Morris is a $1,000 surety bond, reset date June 23rd. Release only to the fugitive whole or the outstanding warrant. Jimmy Stevens, position 9, is a 2,500 surety bond, reset date June 23rd. Position 10 is a $10,000 surety bond, reset date June 23rd. And Taylor is a 2,500 surety bond, June 23rd. And position 12 is a $1,000 surety bond, reset date June 23rd. All right, we will see everyone shortly. You all have a good day. Any questions?
Yeah, Your Honor.
Yes.
Your Honor, I would like to clarify the bond condition for Mr. Stiles. Mr. Stiles informs me that he has to go to the courthouse to pull real estate titles. So will he need an escort for that activity as well?
Yes. Either he will need a police officer anytime he enters the Fulton County Justice Center complex. He needs to notify the sheriff's department.
Okay. And
Or he can
that is-
hire an attorney to do that for him.
Okay, all right. Thank you, Your Honor.
And that concludes. Oh, we have probation also? Oh, pretrial. Oh, that's right. Okay. Oh, the waiver. Toussaint sent you?
Yes, he had to go to the clerk's office.
All right. Thank you, folks. We are concluded. Thank you.